establishing the annual operating budget. Once again, Mrs. Jennings will give a synopsis of that.
Thank you again, Mr. Moore. I had pulled a couple slides out of what you saw during the introduction. So as a reminder, the budget has gone down in total by $15.6 million. That's 5.3%. You can see each of the different funds. The general fund's increase is 4.8%. There's two reasons for that. It's between employee cost and also grant and aid. We have capital projects in both the water and general fund that have decreased, and this is the timing of the projects. General fund specifically has to do with the paramedic building at the EOC. The water fund, we are decreasing the expenses. We're reallocating assets there to try to keep costs down, to keep this fund sustainable. Sewer fund is well below in the inflation rate, so that's at 1.4%. And then the pension and American Rescue Plan, that is what we plan on spending this year. The pension fund does have additional pensioners coming on and also has a 1.5% COLA on the pensioners' retirement. And the American Rescue Plan, as we spend those funds down, you're going to see those costs also go down as well. The revenue highlights, there's no tax increases. We are using some reserves or one-time expenses. Most of this is realty transfer tax reserves, $10 million in the general fund, $15 million in capital. We are seeing fluctuations in our revenue. A lot of it has to do with the real estate market. We are seeing a slowing. So building-related revenues, realty transfer tax are both down $1.3 million. Where we're making that up by not increasing taxes, we are seeing an increase in grant revenue from the state for our paramedic operations. Sheriff revenue is gone up. Wills revenue has gone up. And then, of course, as improvements come on properties, we also have more taxable assessments, and that has also helped with those deficits in the building-related revenues. We've already talked about the rate increases in water and sewer and the connection fees. There are some changes in the engineering fees within these budgets, and this was a slide in the presentation back in May. And we are increasing review fees, that's for sewer, water, road fees. Again, we look at these every year, determine if they're covering our costs for people coming in asking for review fees, and we felt now that our salaries have increased, we are requesting a little bit more plan reviews done. We have a phasing plan, a detailed grading plan that gets done now, so it requires more staff time, so we have to cover those costs. So those are what all those requests are here. And then covering expenses real quickly, there is increases in expenses of 4.8% in the general fund, as I showed on the summary slide. Most of that, as I said, was personnel related. There are no new positions, so the cost increases here all have to do with promotions, merits, and COLAs. Contractual services, a lot of this has to do with our insurance, which you're going to hear Andrew speak today, as some of the insurance costs have gone up. And then grant and aid, there is an increase there as well. Some of this has to do with the accommodation tax. As we accumulate those funds, the expenses go up until we spend those funds, and also a water feature there at the Trap Pond State Park. Then the sewer expenses, very similar here. You can see personnel has gone up, similar to the general fund. Contractual services, see the biggest increase here, and that has to do with our T&M, time and materials contract, to repair our transmission systems. And then our water fund, as you can see, I mentioned that we have decreased our operational expenses. We're reallocating some of our assets here. We are spending our savings through this, so that's why we have to continue to increase our rates. And we have done that continuously since 2021 so that we can bridge that gap of using our savings. Any questions on the operations budget?
Questions of council? Questions of council?
Okay, at this time, Mr. President, I'd like to ask if there's any member of the public here today that would like to speak on this proposed ordinance. Is there any member of the public that would like to come forward and speak on this? Seeing none, operator, can you check online to see if anyone would like to speak on this proposed ordinance?
At this time, there is currently no one on the line.
Thank you, Operator. Mr. President, this time we can close the public hearing on this matter, close public record, and we do have the ordinance.
Close public hearings. Okay with council. Close public record. And Ms. Jennings, Mr. Moore, who's going to read the...
He can read the
Okay,
short.
Mr. Moore.
And ordinance establishing the annual operating budget for fiscal year 2024.
Pleasure, council.
Move for adoption.
Motion, Mr. Riley. Second,
I'll second it.
Mr. Hudson. Questions on the motion? We'll take the vote. Mr. Schaefer.
Yes.
Mrs. Green.
Yes.
Mr. Hudson.
Yes.
Mr. Riley.
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion carried.